Greetings. Welcome to another edition of Meet the Author. I'm Gene Chang from the YMAA Publication Center, and today I have the pleasure of talking with Ronald Rones, who's the author of two of our videos, Tai Chi AM Workout and the Tai Chi PM Practice. I want to start right off. I practice a little Tai Chi myself. I do Sun style Tai Chi, traditional Sun style, and there's just one form. I practice it in the morning and the evening. Well, I practice it once a day. I don't practice in the morning and the evening, but there's no difference between how I would practice in the morning versus how I would practice in the evening. So my first question to you is, what is the difference between an AM practice and a PM practice? What have you developed?
Well, the first of all, that the two forms are really short, so they're like about 3 to 5 minutes, so for people that don't have time. The second unique element that I emphasized in those two forms is a combination of movements from yoga, Chen style, and Yang style. So it has a little bit of taste of a few styles. And then so that you start with the mountain stance of yoga style, and then you move right into a mountain stance of Qigong with the visualization of the lower energy center. And then you go into a movement which is ground mo in Chinese, which is from Chen style. And then you move to a few moves of Yang style. But the most unique part of this form is that I created it in such a way that it goes to both left and right. Most Tai Chi form usually go to one side because it's a martial art. But because I designed it more for health, I created a form that goes evenly to both sides. It creates an ability to keep repeating the form over and over. So if you don't want to do the only one time to both sides, left and right, you can do it again and again. So 3, 4 times. And then you can perform it slow, medium, and fast. So if it's slow, it's more for health purposes. And when you practice it fast, it's more for martial purposes. I designed those two forms also for two different chronic conditions. And I want to remind people that it's not just about a form. It's not just about Tai Chi form. The form is only a small part of the book and its application, of course, for people that are looking for martial arts or the application of the form. But the biggest part or Tai Chi is a philosophy. And as a philosophy, it embodies in it stretching, strengthening, deep breathing, meditation in different postures, each one, sitting meditation, standing meditation, moving meditation. It embodies in it visualization. And as someone that practiced a very traditional environment with Dr. Yang and other masters that Dr. Yang introduced me to around him, which were like his uncles or brothers, martial brothers, like Liang Shiyu or Weilong Wang, or other teachers that over the years I met through Dr. Yang, you learn that it's not just about the form. In our classes, actually, of a 2-hour class, we only practice the form 10, 15 minutes at the end. Most of the class will concentrate on warming up, on standing meditation, Qigong exercises, or Tai Chi Qigong if it's a Tai Chi class, and on and on. And I want to remind people that Tai Chi and Qigong are philosophies, they're a way of life, and they embody in them more than just the form. So the form was designed to deal with two chronic conditions. The sunrise Tai Chi was more soft, floating motions that help relax the mind and help deal with chronic pain, or I used it for research at Tufts with fibromyalgia. Versus the sunset Tai Chi was more done to relax and to strengthen the legs and to create more bearing on both legs. So it was designed for osteoarthritis of the knee that I was doing with Tufts. So both studies reached the R01, which is 90 people, which is the biggest study that can be done. They're both published in medical journals. One is the New England Journal of Medicine, the chronic pain, and one is in the British Medical Journal and other magazines. It also reached the New York Times. It kind of rippled into the New York Times because it was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. But both approaches, both AM and the PM, also have the AM has about 40 what I call mind-body prescriptions, and the Sunset or the PM has another 42 of mind-body prescription. And each mind-body prescription, I call it the mind-body program before the form, embodies in it the 5 building blocks of our being and how to fine-tune them until fine-tuning is not needed, because that's what it's all about. It's about those 5 building blocks: the body, the breath, the mind, the energy, and the spirit. So those 5 building blocks of our being, I found out working for 20 some years in the medical community that if you don't push all 5 building blocks at the same time, you won't get the medical and the martial results that you're looking for. So you need, in every exercise, in every movement, to emphasize all 5 building blocks of our being. So it's body, breath, mind, energy, and spirit. So that's why I also emphasize a short form, not just because people don't have time, because I figured out by the time people will integrate all 5 building blocks to every movement, it's better to have a shorter form that and then go deeper than just fill people with a lot of movements and form, but no deeper meaning or utilization of the 5 building blocks. So the mind-body prescription, I call it, or the other part of the AM and PM, is how to practice those 5 building blocks. You want to free the skeleton from being a prisoner of the soft tissue. So as we age, as the weather, modernization, lifestyle, our whole body becomes a prisoner of the soft tissue. Soft tissue means muscles, fascia, skin, tendons, and sometimes the ligaments, of course, with certain people with arthritis or other inflammation. So we become a prisoner of the soft tissue. And with aging and cold weather and modernization and furnitures and on, we just become more and more restrict, and we don't do anymore what our skeleton potentially is designed to do. And that's where both the PM and the AM, it offers you different stretches to deal with different conditions. So there's like the chair twist, the hamstring stretch, the quad stretch, the groin stretch.
I'd like to unpack something you had said earlier a bit. I hear what you're saying about Tai Chi being a philosophy, and the practice that we think of here in America or in the West of Tai Chi being the movements, that's really more of an expression of that philosophy. And you also work with the National Institute of Health, right?
I work with Tufts. I do research for 20 years with Tufts with chronic pain and osteoarthritis of the knee and rheumatoid arthritis. We submitted for some lower back pain and falls and working with aging. I also work with MGH with irritable bowel syndrome research, and with Dana-Farber Zechem Center with cancer and side effects, and doing mild research there as well.
So how did that all come about? I think that's where Tai Chi becomes so precious nowadays, not just for stress relief and well-being, but with the work that's been doing in fall prevention, with arthritis, with PTSD. I think that's really groundbreaking and really vital to the modern day practice. So how did you get involved in all that?
So it's doing really well, but one of the way I got into it was that I was dealing with a few people that had cancer in the beginning of the 90s. I had a little bit of a success. And then when I approached doctors and institutes and mentioned the success, I got like a very a reserved reaction of like, they weren't really that impressed with it. And what ended up, they call it an antidote, just an antidote. It's a one story, it could be a miracle. It could something happen that we don't know. It's not necessarily science. And it got me really thinking, well, that's shouldn't be the future of Tai Chi and Qigong and our mind-body philosophies, period, because I believe I've seen it in front of me, how it helped me personally with my medical issue as a teenager and got me into the training with the digestive issues and skeleton muscular issues, as well as sinus infections. And I've seen how over the years it helped different people around me with the different conditions, including back problems, knee injuries. It started with physical injuries, and slowly I realized how it really helps with the more chronic conditions. So I saw an ad at Dana-Farber that they're looking to collaborate with some people that are doing complementary. At that time, it was called alternative. And I approached them, and there was a 2-year period of them testing different people that came every Wednesday for 2 hours, and they had it going for 2 years. I was one of the first one because I was looking for it and found it. And I actually had a friend in the institute that said, Rami, you should go for it. And from the first meeting, I talked to them. I decided I'm not going to talk in their language, in our language, with chi. I won't mention the word chi, spirit. And I made a really convincing argument how by just strengthening muscles, working on flexibility, getting rid of pains and aches, having better performance through life, increasing oxygen intake, and using the breath to calm the mind, I was able to convince them that there's merit to this stuff. And then they asked me to stay, and I stayed there. And over the weeks, more people came introduced, and I was able to explain to them what they're doing. For example, some people came and did admitting energy. And I said, do you really want this here? Somebody will do admitting energy versus I'm telling that we can teach the students to empower themselves. Why do you need someone else to rely on them? So they like that, yeah. And they say, okay, you stay for now as part of the committee, and you keep explaining us what we're looking at, because they had no idea what they're looking at. People came and did Qigong. People came and did the standing meditation. People came and did healing from far, healing from close, therapeutic touch, Reiki, all kind of stuff. And then after 2 years, they say, okay, Rami, we're hiring you because you were here explaining to us everything. And then over time, it developed, and we got massage people, we got acupuncturists, and we got like other movements. So that's the Zakem Center at Dana-Farber, and that became the Zakem Center. Of course, Lenny Zakem joined 2 years into this, and he's the one that made it what it is with his connections and his power. So this need to create the science behind it was stimulated me and got me going. And I'm talking 15, 20 years already. So it just shows you that the academia world is very, very slow. It takes a long time for everything to happen. But eventually it does happen. Nowadays you have acupuncture and Tai Chi and Qigong in a lot of hospitals, cancer centers. I still think that they should cover also, insurance should cover 10 treatment, because I'm still competing against a physiotherapist, even though I'm showing much better result than physiotherapy. Otherwise, I won't get published. So in order for me to get published, I need to show that my intervention beats the physiotherapy by about 30%. Then it's worth publishing. So all my studies, the big ones, I did show that the standard care or physical therapy, which is many times their standard care, is efficient, but what I design and implement is 30% at least more efficient. And again, it's not just Tai Chi in general that anybody can go do Tai Chi and get rid of chronic pain and get rid of the osteoarthritis of the knee or any other chronic condition, or strengthen the immune system, if it's Dana-Farber, or improve mood, anxiety, depression, being able to deal with the sleep and all the other side effects of treatment and being diagnosed with cancer. You have to tailor and choose and pick what do you use from the philosophy. And that's what the AM and PM comes down to, that it's a like cherry picking of the best while trying to put all 5 building blocks together with a mind-body intervention. I call it a warm-up or preparation, which allows you then to practice and perform the short form, with all 5 building blocks of our being. Both of them have visualization, which is not that often you can see. The lower energy visualization, 4 gates, breathing visualization, skin, bone, marrow visualization. So all those practices that you don't find them that often are in the AM. That's thanks to Dr. Yang Jwing Ming that was such a master and scholar, and was able to translate all those documents and then make us practice it and see how this ancient document that he translated the training can be actually brought back and learned and practiced again. And what it is, the unique part of this is that it embodies a very deep learning and practicing of all 5 building blocks. So just the body, I was talking about freeing the skeleton from bringing presence of soft tissue, but there's also joint massage. There's also correct alignment, creating space in the joints. There's a ton of stuff on a physical level. And then on the breath, embody also, because I have a very strong background and also in yoga, BKS Iyengar yoga. So really? Body's embodied into the breath, the whole pranayama and the Taoist breathing with the visualization, which is the energetic system, which is very powerful at Master Yang's, Dr. Yang's books and knowledge. And you don't see it almost anywhere, all this knowledge of training the energy path, training the energy centers, increasing the circulation, removing stagnation. So all that is very important to succeed. I actually believe that if you push all 5 building blocks at the same time, you have a chance to activate what in the West they call the placebo effect. They consider the placebo effect as a negative connotation. Oh, it's just habit, it's a placebo effect. So it has a negative connotation in Western medicine. But I said, no, I have the key, the formula, how to activate or stimulate or generate this placebo effect. And I really believe that it's by pushing all 5 building blocks in every posture and every practice.
Yeah, give me the placebo effect. I mean, there's no side effects to a good placebo effect. I want to talk a little bit about BKS Iyengar. My wife is an Iyengar instructor. And in 97, we went to the Institute in Pune and studied there. I've always found his work particularly fascinating because he was, like you, very connected to the medical institute at the time there. And I think that really made his teachings very precise anatomically in a Western sense. And so I can kind of see this connection now between you and his work. But
I started with Patricia Walden for many years. And then she's one of his right-hand people. My wife was actually her assistant for a while, but because we started to have 4 kids I have now, that took us off the path of going there because it was far. We had to drive far to see her. But I loved her. She was amazing. And like you said, the BKS Iyengar is so precise, so anatomically correct. So if you can see, it's in my background between BKS Iyengar knowledge and Dr. Yang Jwing Ming knowledge, and then you add a few other, you have the Alexander technique and Feldenkrais that I read carefully and studied. And then you have a few other masters that were over years. As you know, when you study with a world-renowned master like Dr. Yang, you have an opportunity to meet other world-renowned teachers. And as one of his top students, I always found that the other teachers were trying to impress me and trying to teach me, and I was really appreciated for that. But I felt like they're really teaching me from their heart. Sometimes I noticed they taught me stuff they didn't teach their top students. But I have a feeling that it's like some kind of a rivalry or competition, and they wanted to show me how great they are. That in front, hey, I'm also as great as your master, or you're not even better, or something like that. So I felt like the competition actually motivated a lot of those teachers to teach me a little further sometimes because of my association, of course, and being a disciple of Dr. Yang Jwing Ming.
For sure. I'm actually not a student of Dr. Yang, but I got to say his writing is what inspired me to go into writing. And, he was the first one that kind of opened up, took writing about martial arts in English to a whole new level.
Yeah.
That kind of like that stimulated me to think, wow, everybody, we can all do this, because at the time when he was publishing initially, there was no articles of any meat, really. I mean, most of them were just sort of like, here's the form, here's some movements. But he was getting in, like you said, translating a lot of stuff. And
he was spending his whole day the process of him translating was amazing. I was honored to witness it. And he would work from 5, 6 in the morning, and he will ponder and read the Chinese. And then you have a few English scholars that he will talk to them, and they will try to understand each word and how does it translate to English, and is it the right feeling? He always looked for the feeling in the word. So that's why I think his translation and his work is amazing. Plus, he's so smart and so knowledgeable. I always joked, I say he can do at least 3 PhDs without blinking. Just the history of weapons, that's a PhD right there. The history of Qigong, yeah, that knowledge is rare and it's lost. I can tell you that when we went to China with Dr. Yang, there was a team that was chosen from North America, and we went to perform in China, and they performed for us. It was a Canadian, North America, who else? California. It was North American team was made, and we went back to China in 92 or 94, if I'm not mistaken. And when we performed there in China, we'll travel for 6 weeks through the whole south of China. We perform for them in a village, they perform for us. We move to the next village, we perform, they perform. We perform, they perform.
Cultural exchange. I've been on those.
Yeah. And everywhere we went, including in Shanghai, in the main competition there, the older generation called Dr. Yang and said, we haven't seen this stuff for 50 years. It disappeared. It's like it was hidden, and you brought it back up. The Lin Bu Chuan, the Fa Jing that he has, even my Ti Dao, they chose that Ti Dao image. I was on national TV because it was such a rare and ancient form. If you go on YouTube and you say Ramel Ronas China, so I got a gold medal for it there. But later they made me go on national TV from the whole team, and then they said that they told him, we haven't seen this kind of real kung fu and since the older generation, and then it disappeared in the last 56 years. So we understood that his teacher in Taiwan, it was almost like frozen in time with his knowledge. And then when he taught them, meanwhile, for 50, 60 years, that totally disappeared in China. So actually, it was like almost a frozen knowledge in time that Dr. Yang received, and then we luckily received it here, versus 50, 60 years, it was dormant everywhere else. So
yeah, I find it fascinating that the diaspora really preserved traditional Kung Fu, with modern China going more towards modern Wushu. I mean, it's kind of the same thing that happened to Shaolin Temple, where the temple was destroyed and it was kept by the folk masters and then restored it. But, such is the course of Chinese martial arts. Listen, we should wrap up here. I got to say one thing. You've totally outdone me with the sword display there. I'm loving that collection of weapons you got behind you, and I just got my one little sword. I feel a little outclassed.
That's only half of it.
Oh yeah, no, I've got plenty of swords. I just put one up for decoration. But where can, aside from YMA Publishing Center, where can our viewers find you on the web?
Well, I would recommend to check out my website, ramelronas.com. I have a blog, it's free, I write it, and also a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel has a lot of videos. I like to create like those 3-minute videos because of people's attention span, short attention span. So one exercise, I call it mind-body prescription, and they're all like stepping stones towards eventually performing a form with all 5 building blocks. So I feel like the AM and the PM are excellent 2 workouts that embodies in them the 5 building blocks, body, breath, mind, energy, and spirit. They also emphasize balance between strength and flexibility, a lot of visualization that you won't find in many other DVDs and books, and very authentic. So the idea is to study all those visualization, free of skeleton from being a prisoner of soft tissue, and evoke the spirit and utilize the mind with the energetic system while you're also doing the AM or the PM form. The whole idea of utilizing nature, utilizing the setting sun and drinking it through the third eye and nourishing and strengthening your lower energy center. You don't see it that often. And I studied that with Master Joe from that passed away in New York with the Tai Chi farm. But also the setting sun. Yeah, exactly. Setting sun is all about cleansing, and the rising sun, it's all about nourishing. So I also wanted to introduce this ancient practice into the form or into the philosophy, not just you and yourself and the 5 building blocks, but also you and the surrounding forces around you, which is in this case, it's the rising sun and the setting sun.
Very good. Well, I could tell we go for hours on this topic, but this is just a short interview. So everybody go out and get Primal Roan's material, and you can get a lot more information on this stuff. Thank you for your time, sir. And we will
thank you. Bye.
More of your stuff.
Bye. Thank you.